Yeah, Gary does a good job. He does a marvelous job. It's big money, yeah. We have it the way we'd like. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe we have a generator. We got a generator. It's big money, yeah. We have it the way we'd like. It's a hell of a deal.
We got it with liberal money from a grant from the state. Love it. Yeah, I love spending liberal money. So am I going to get fined for missing the roll call vote at the earlier one?
Yep.
No. Yeah.
Ready?
All right, I would like to reconvene and call the meeting to order for the Nisswa Planning Commission Board of Adjustment, Tuesday, September 1st, 2020 at 6 p.m. Let's do another roll call.
Linda, oh, I'm sorry.
Good.
Linda Gettleman,
Don Jacobson.
Gary Harris.
Josh Young.
Bob Fear.
Mark Allen.
Maggie Wentler. Brittany Cotner.
Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
I would like to add item 10D, conditions update, please.
A what update?
Conditions.
All right, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, to approve the meeting minutes for Tuesday, August 1st, 2020. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes?
No.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So move.
Can I have a second?
Oh.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next item is an open forum. Is there anyone present that would like to speak towards anything not on the agenda this evening?
Mark Ronai, Granby Lodge. Just in the form of a fair warning. We're starting again on North Pines. Start tomorrow night. We'll be at Public Works with a sewer plan and a street plan and all the things that pertain to Public Works. It's a much scaled down version of what we were doing before. It's 27 units instead of 60. And just wanted to let you know that we're back the project is back online, and I'll just let you know that we've submitted some documents already, and away we go. So, question?
Mark, is the total development going to be 27 units, or are you doing phase 1, 2, and 3, so to speak?
No, we are planning on one phase, 27 units. So the rest of it will be open space, and we've allotted for easement for the trail in there, and larger lots. We went with a larger lot, more, frankly, a more permanent residence style of accommodation. So more snowbird oriented than it was before even, so.
Going to have larger units or about same architectural as
Same
what you're thinking
architectural
before?
control that we talked about, same architecture we talked before, just larger lots. In our surveys we've done with our prospective customers, they were looking for a little bit more land, particularly if they're going to build something with a little higher level of finish. There will be some rentals allowed in there. We'll handle that with the conditions. I just wanted to let you know that here we go again. So, and we will be organizing a tour up there so we can talk, because one of the big things is going to be the way we approach Lower Roy Lake Road and how this interfaces with the proposed trail. So
Do you have the range what you're targeting at now? Are these going from 450 to 950 or?
Yes. They're going from 450 to probably 625 to 900,000. Something in that neighborhood. So we were taught, our prospective clients are telling us they want something different than we were offering. So anyway, just thought I'd say hello.
Sounds like
Thank
you have
you.
the right clients.
Pardon me?
Sounds like you have the right clients.
I think we did. Yes, thank you very much. I think we did.
It just brings me out.
All right, is there anyone else present that would like to speak towards anything? All right, hearing none, we will move on to public hearings. I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So move.
Second,
Second.
all those opposed? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, first item is a conditional use permit application 013-20 to allow the construction of a dwelling 30 feet from a wetland where 75 is required. The subject property is located at 26383 Edna Lake Road, PID 2803061, owner applicant John and Lori Miller.
This is a variance application, Chair.
No, I'm sorry, yes. Staff report?
Yes. As you stated, the applicant is requesting a variance to encroach upon the wetland setback. The wetland setback for that lake is 100 feet. The variance request is for 30 feet. Per Minnesota state statute, we must present a practical difficulty in order to approve variances. At this time, none has been seen or outlined, so my recommendation is either to deny or if the applicants would like to update their plan.
Anything else?
No.
No? If you'd like to make a public comment regarding this project, please step towards the podium and state your name and address. Okay, hearing none, I'll close public comments. Do the applicants have anything to add?
I guess ideally we'd like to have some feedback from the commission after the site visit and what your thoughts might be. I know I can't ask you if you're going to vote yes or no, but I myself am concerned about some of the trees that were impacted by the way the initial staking was done. I don't want to walk into this blindly to figure out how we'd like to build this new house, but without some direction from you guys, I'm not sure what we're going to do.
We might have some more questions for you.
Okay. Yeah. If anybody has any questions, by all means.
Okay.
Don't be shy.
Did they state their names when they came in?
I'm sorry, John and Lori Miller,
Okay.
the owners. We've been there for 31 years and love Nisswa, and we'd like to find a way to build a new house, and like any directions you guys can share with us.
Did you guys want me to provide the guidance? I just looked up and a couple of you were looking at me, so I didn't know if you wanted me to provide the guidance or if you guys were prepared to do that.
I mean, it's up to you guys. I mean, you want to start firing questions?
Is there any way that a new structure can be built? I mean, if you demolish what is currently there, you said you wanted to take it down and stay right within the guidelines that they're in right now. I mean, can that be done?
Yes,
It's
as
not going
long
to
as
be the lovely new concept that you have.
it can't change in any way. So it can't get higher or change volume if they were to rebuild in that exact same footprint.
We'd have to build the same house.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
But we could give a variance if they wanted to go higher.
Yes, but I would point out that you guys initially denied a variance a couple months ago for almost the exact same request.
What does that mean?
Precedent has been made that there was a previous applicant where they wanted to rebuild the same house but go up one level, and the decision was no.
So that impacts us?
Yes, because right now, that's the trend, is that we don't allow that. But we'd have to prove that there's practical difficulty to go up. So, I mean, we're still kind of in the same boat.
Don't we have practical difficulty with the fact that the setback requirements based on the way they are right now, we couldn't even build what we have?
So technically, yes, but you're not even in the building envelope. If you were to push it back so that the majority of the building was in the building envelope and you had some sticking out, that's like a textbook variance. Like, that's why variances were created.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, you're not even in the building envelope.
The only way we could go in the envelope though would be to take down all the trees that we want to save. That's
Right.
that's the rub.
And trees don't constitute a practical difficulty under state law.
So at this point, we are trying to move it closer to the road. I guess we're gonna have to look at some other options for that, but I mean, we certainly want to continue, with, being a part of Nisswa. Now that we're retired, it's awesome to spend more time, but we need a year-round place. The hot roof does not facilitate that. So, what other options are you thinking of at this point? That'd be good to chat about.
So is the main reason for not moving the house much closer to the road, is it for what? Because of trees?
Well, the
Are there-
elevation, the lot goes up, it slopes up, and there's a bunch of Norway pines. We're pinched by the driveway and the existing septic. And if you look to the topography, there's quite a severe drop, and there's some nice trees down there too. We could fill that, but when we were on site earlier, it was pretty much straightforward that we really wouldn't be able to go that way anyway, because there's just not that much land. where the
Yeah,
lot line is.
unfortunately, I was unable to be at the site visit, so I'm not familiar with what I was looking at. But I was just looking at the map topography. It looks like a power line easement or something through here. Is that what that is?
The exception, that's not our land, that's the 50 feet of the neighboring lot. The dark line is where our lot line is. I think, Don, you asked me that question, what the exception was, and I could call the surveyors and ask them what that is, but that's not even on our property.
You said that was a part of a parcel that had been sold, is that right?
So originally, just a little more
That might be
background,
what it is then.
we bought this property in 1989. It originally was 100 feet. The neighbor bought the neighboring 100 feet and split it in half. And that 50 feet, they kept 50 feet, we've got 50 feet. So we're kind of on that edge of the lot line.
Mark, did you have any comments or questions? No?
Pass.
Pass?
Is your major, you need more space. It's not the hot roof that's your issue. You just
Well,
build a bigger house. Right?
Both, and we've never really stayed full winters because we were working. And now that we're retired, we'd like to spend more time up here. And I know if I heat it, because we've had, last year, we probably had, come spring, maybe 3 inches of ice over the edge of the house, maybe a little bit more than 3. And I know if we crank the temperature up to 70 degrees for 4 months, it's going to be probably a foot of ice. So that part of the house would have to come down.
I'm not saying you should do this, but a very similar situation happened in the 12 duplexes that I live in Gull Lake, south of you, called Interlochen, where we had ice damming because the hot roof that we had, and these were built in 2000, wasn't done properly. And Norsun addressed the problem, and there is a technical solution. I come from, but not saying that you like that house, you have other motives too, but that hot roof issue could be solved.
But you have to take the roof off, right?
You take the top off and
Yeah.
basically you take out the insulation and you use spray foam, and you have to ventilate it from the,
Right.
with a lay-in little duct about 3 inches.
I mean, if we're going to do that, I'd take the whole roof off and rebuild that half of the house. And the builders we've talked to basically said, once you take that down, the garage would be impacted, the hot roof comes off, you've got a wall and a half left maybe. So what have you
It cost me
accomplished?
$65,000 to do a 2,000 square foot house of roof,
Oh. Well,
just FYI.
yeah, I mean, that's nice to know, I appreciate that, but at the end of the day, that only gets us about halfway home because we need more space.
Understand. Just sharing my
That's good to know.
7-year problem.
Yeah,
It was-
Yeah.
only 65,000. It's cheaper than the plan that we've got on the table, that's for sure, but.
So the problem comes down to trees and economics, all right?
The economics, we know it's going to be expensive. We're not here asking for economic relief. We're hoping to find a way to build something that will fit the spirit and intent of the ordinance and essentially get us what we really want, which is a new home that we can live in at some point in time.
And the other thing is where, you know, we're actually moving closer to the road, and we'll look at other options to move even closer. But the wetlands as they are will remain unchanged, that as they have for 31 years. I mean, it was dry many years ago, and now they're, you know, this year is certainly a little bit wetter, but that's, we're not looking to fill that in
No.
or impact that at all. It's beautiful, so.
Brittany, where they have those big pine trees, if they were to take those down and the house goes over that way, that's acceptable?
It would ultimately fall to you guys, but in my opinion, a majority of the home fits in the building envelope. So if we could get, you know, the majority of the home in the building envelope and then grant a variance for, you know, because it is a weird building envelope, admittedly. But right now, with it not even being in the building envelope, I don't see how we can pass this in good conscience.
My thought is that I think you folks have to make a concession. If you really want to build a new home and you have to go that way and take those pine trees down, you could have those trees lumbered and use the house and use the lumber some way within your new home. I mean, it could be part of your new home. And you can always plant big pine, not big pine trees, but evergreens, that type of thing. I mean, you might have to step, if that's what you want.
Well, if we're going to contour the lot, that's a different request, right? To take, basically, we'd have to go from our driveway, we'd have to go 30 or 40 feet probably to shape that.
No, it's part of your
It's part of this
land use
request?
permit. Yep. If pending a variance request, once you come through with a land use permit, your land use permit would cover the excavating as well as the grading and all that.
One question I had when I was there, based on where that garage is coming out, I didn't see it on the drawings when I was reviewing it. How are they planning to contour that? Because it is a pretty significant hill on that side. Did the builder tell you what their plans were in that regard?
We never really got quite to that point since it's their busy season, trying to get stuff buttoned up between now and when the snow flies.
Okay.
I know we'd have to shape that hill and bring that down. There's no doubt. So we'd have to go, you know, if we're going 30 feet to build, I'm sure we'd have to go, you know, a good 40 or so to shape it down and then replant trees.
I guess in my experience, when we've done, in my past, when we've done any land excavating and we're dealing with trees and you want to save them, if you're doing like major land contouring like this, what I have found is that once you're digging into the root structure, you're going to lose the trees anyway. So it's better to take them down so it doesn't cause damage
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
So it might not look great at first, but just something to keep in
Right.
mind.
No, we have no reservations whatsoever about replanting trees. I'd bring in the biggest trees we could bring in with a tree spade and have them plopped in. We're not going to put saplings in. So if that was a possibility, we definitely could go that route.
And John isn't mentioned, but he's a woodworker, so we would in fact use a lot of that wood to make a
Good, yeah.
table
Sure.
and beams and
Yes.
that kind of thing, which would be really neat.
Thanks for volunteering me for work.
Well, I know, we've already talked about it.
If you get their permission to release it.
You guys had anything else?
No, I was just questioning, there's an easement of some kind that's running diagonally through your property there between the house where it's shown in the road. I assume, is that a gas easement? Is it an underground pipe or is it
We have
power
very-
easement or what is that?
We did pay to have our power buried. So we don't have above ground wires. We have
Yeah, it's
power
underground,
buried.
but there's a fairly significant easement there that you're gonna have to stay out of there. Yeah, the dotted lines. Doesn't say what it is, but I'm assuming it's a utility easement of
Is
some
that the
kind.
road? I thought that was the road setback.
Are you talking about the 3 dotted lines right here? Am I in the same?
Yeah, these dashed lines that are coming through
I just assumed
at a
it was-
different angle. They're not parallel with the road.
Wait, you got an engineering opinion on that?
The engineering opinion is simply with Snowmark didn't very well define it at all. I mean, they're almost like just dimension on them. But, I mean, I agree, there's nowhere, a legend, nothing states.
Yeah.
What it is.
That's a showstopper though. That's a significant area. I mean, even if they're gonna move and build inside as much as possible, their buildable zone. We've got to know what that is.
Well, yes, they don't even know what it's there.
They do, we don't.
I mean,
Yeah.
They're gonna have to talk with their surveyor and just find out what, in fact, is going to
Yeah.
indicate. And if the fact there is some type of utilities there, yes, then that very much comes into play, how they can utilize their building.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to put the building inside that easement without the power companies releasing part of that or giving them permission of some kind. And they just don't do that.
I don't think so.
I guess without knowing that information exactly, the size and location of the easement, if it does exist, I don't think they can vote on it. So,
I don't think
It
it's
just
an
has
easement, but
dimensions though. It
there's
doesn't
surveyor.
look like it has. like,
Somebody just likes drawing lines on the map.
Yeah,
huh?
I wonder if there's a rendering.
it's very odd. So they need to clarify that with the surveyor. exactly what that-
No,
I've
that
got it at home. I've
Yes,
got
I'm
the,
recommending
I've got the
that.
full
that certainly
34
throws
inch
up a red flag for
survey at
me.
home. I don't think it's on there.
I'm recommending we table that till that's, the vote until that's defined. That's pretty significant, right through the.
Can you move on with the rest of your business and can I go back and get that larger survey? If you guys have that question to try to answer it tonight? Because I've got the full-size survey printed out on my table at home.
It should be labeled on that. I don't
Even
know
the
that
ones
that's going to
that
hinge on
say
whether or not you're going to
it's
get a
on
variance.
for
So
sure.
Okay, you think it's on the full-size one then too?
Yeah, it's on all of them. so.
Then for sure, we want to answer that question for you guys.
Yeah.
And what's the procedure on that? We table it, come back to the next meeting or? Is that how we do it?
Let me ask you this though, before we go that far, never mind. Never mind. It goes through the building envelope, so you can't really give feedback on.
Well, if we can't build on the envelope, then we got a bigger issue than we thought we had.
Are they just dimensions though? From when I look at them, it just looks like, okay. Because it says 200.
That's why I
it
didn't
says
bring it up on
1.
our report, I just, if it would have been an easement, I would have raised a red flag on it, but agreed, they need to go back to the surveyor, get an explanation from Stormwater, what do those lines represent, do best to clear them off the drawing, so that it's confusing subject.
I mean, I don't want to table it if you're just going to waste their time where they have to come back with the same thing that they want to do and then they have to come through another meeting. It just doesn't make any sense.
So you're recommending taking a vote under the assumption that there is no easement?
Well, I mean, what,
no, I don't think we have to. I think the request is for a variance down to 30 feet
Right. So
Is that
we
correct?
can address that.
instead of 100.
Correct.
And
In
I
the
think
legal
that-
description, there's no easement listed, if that.
Okay. But
well, I will entertain a motion then if you would like to make one
Did you guys want
or somebody else.
Go ahead, go ahead.
What,
We want to table it to pursue options, don't we?
okay, I don't know what that means.
Okay, so
Before we vote, I mean,
If
does
it's a
this mean we
deny,
can never do it or we come back with a different plan?
you can come back with a different plan. The risk you run if we allow the motion to continue is if it's a denial, you have to start over and we have to do a new application and go through the process
I'm
again.
not concerned about the application fee or anything like that. I mean, ideally, what I want to get is the most feedback. We'd like to do this. If it works, great. If we have to start over again, I mean, I don't want to do a survey again. I'd like to get the answer on the easement, things like that, but
But speaking for myself, I would like to see your design, your floor, your layout, use more of the allowable building area, just speaking for myself. And I'm personally involved in replanting some 15-foot trees, Colorado pines and some others, and you know, they grow pretty quick, 1 to 2 feet per year.
But what are your thoughts on the setback?
I'm inclined not to.
I just want to give them some guidelines.
I'm inclined. 30 foot seems pretty minimal. I mean, there's
so.
Brittany best described it as far as what constitutes a variance, what conditions.
Although we don't want to do anything with the wetland, if we went to the county, does the city do the wetland or does the county do the wetland?
What do you mean with the
If-
wetland?
if-
Wetland credit?
If we did the wetland offset credit thing.
It goes to the county, but I don't think that would really even help you because it'd probably only give you 10, 20 feet. So you'd still wouldn't meet the setback.
Would 50 be better than 30? I don't know. It's up to the commission. I don't want to touch the wetland personally.
I understand that. That's a
That
hornet's
sounds-
nest when you do that.
That sounds dangerous.
It's also expensive. So you got to replace it someplace else at 2 to 3 times the amount.
On,
No.
on their property or somewhere else on the lake?
Anywhere within the watershed district usually. Isn't that correct, Mark?
Well, not even water.
But, yeah. I don't even know if we have a watershed district here, so. I would have a tendency, if you wanted to go ahead and get a vote tonight, I would have a tendency to be negative to a 30-foot setback.
So we have to find a way to push it back in the envelope.
You've got to get that, you got to get that house back further, I think, to make this thing work.
Well, then I think we should request that we table it
Then
and
we
come
want
back.
to table it and pursue options.
And
right.
get some,
Another plan.
get an explanation of what
Yeah.
that is
So
doing.
can we
Yeah.
come
It's
back
probably
next-
on that
next month?
survey,
Yep.
so.
I'll have you on the agenda next
That'd be
month,
great.
and I'll touch
Great.
base with you in between now and then.
Okay, awesome.
All right, thank you very
Thanks,
much.
everyone.
Okay.
Appreciate you coming out to see our place.
Sorry you had to wait.
Have a nice day,
Thanks
guys.
for the invitation.
Need a motion to table?
Yes.
I'll move to table the application for variance. The number, whatever it was,
013-20.
yes,
I'll second it.
Second by Linda.
Table it to the next meeting.
to the next meeting.
Okay.
All right, all those in favor of the table?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. All right, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearings.
So move.
May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Bob.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion carries. New business. Meets and bounds subdivision application 014-20 to subdivide an existing parcel into 2. The subject property is located at the intersection of County Road 18 and Main Street near the roundabout. Owner Crow Wing County, applicant City of Nisswa.
I wasn't on. A little background with this property. This was back when we rerouted County Road 18. This was supposed to be at the time given back to the city, divided between the city, the DNR, and the county. And it has just kind of slipped through the cracks until Mr. Johnson's Mets and Bounds application last month. So this is just us cleaning up that area.
All right, if you'd like to make a public comment regarding this project, please step towards the podium. Hearing none, we'll move on. Any comments from anybody? No.
It's pretty much
Yeah.
housekeeping.
Mr. Chair, I'll move we approve the Mutes and Bounds subdivision application 014-20 to subdivide an existing parcel into 2 as presented by staff.
I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Public water access vacation request.
Sorry, I'm just trying to pull it up here. So we have an application to request a vacation of that Ferncroft Commons, which is on the south side of that property listed there. Council has approved this to go before us as well as the Public Works Commission as far as getting this approved. One concern that I will bring up is our comprehensive plan does state that we want to preserve and or expand the amount of public water accesses we have in the city. So that's the only thing for or against that I could find within that plan.
Brittany, can you expand on the other side of Camp Lincoln there? There's those 2 parcels that, can you give us some more information on what the city plans to do with those parcels if it was purchased from the county because they're tax forfeited?
At this time, I don't believe any decisions have been made. Last I heard, it had went before the county and received positive feedback. And then when it made it to the second step, it sounds like it didn't meet such positivity. From there, I don't know where we sit, but I know that we haven't let that die yet.
Okay. Was the city still interested in turning that into a park, or what's
Yeah.
the plan?
Yep, that's the intent.
City plan.
Absolutely.
It sounds like most of the committees that I've been to, they're in favor of allowing the city to purchase it for $1, as long as we put a restroom within, I think, a 5-year period. So I think there's just one more step that it has to go through before the whole commission for them to approve it. And it sounds like we'd start rocking in some trails next spring. So there's already some discussion on those things to move forward.
Just as information, do you know where the parking lot would be and where this would be, or is this kind of just in the rough planning stage? You don't know yet.
Planning stages. And with us getting a new park director, things could change. So, but nothing's set in stone, nothing has been approved at this point.
Would there be any interest on the city, since they're developing that on the other side? Would they be want to possibly use this in the future?
That would have to go before the park commission.
You don't know yet. Okay.
I mean, based on my past conversations and being here for over 7 years and part of the park commission, they are always looking for things like this to utilize, and because it could be right across the street or something we own, it could be something that they would want to do. So I don't know if Jenny's got it going before the planning commission, before it gets approved or denied, but.
And this has never been used, correct?
No, I think a lot of these, at least in my history of being here, is most people don't know that they're there, or people, the neighboring properties are using them or mowing them, so the public do not know that they're available to use.
Okay. It's, when I used to have property in there, and when I looked at the original plat, there used to be many of them that used to be there, and they've all been vacated from what I can see. Is that true?
The city only has 8 remaining
Okay.
total, all lakes.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I think that that was included in the comp plan, is because we have been just approving these vacations, and now we're kind of getting to the point where we're landlocking our not shore residents.
Okay. But as far as you know, there's never been a road there at any point?
No, it's just a walk path.
Right.
It's supposed to be like to walk to launch kayaks.
Okay, I think I've driven past there a couple of times and it looks like it's overgrown, but,
Yeah.
okay. Anybody else have any
The
questions?
vacation of this piece is not landlocking anything.
No, I use the wrong terminology. Not so much landlocking. We used to require these to be platted as part of any plat so that the people that weren't on the water still had the access as well as the value in their homes because they had water access.
At the last council meeting, the city attorney had some questions about the survey where it goes down to the lake, and he was going to look at that and come back at the next council meeting with his opinion. So Brittany is right that we would like to keep as many access points to the water available if we can. If it doesn't go to the water, then you're out of luck. So he's going to clarify that.
Okay. I think that'd be a significant impact on my vote.
Probably.
All right, any other questions, comments?
The motion would just be a recommendation to the council to say that we don't see anything wrong with it, or we do see something wrong with it, whatever you want, information you want to pass on.
Okay. Well, does anybody have it? I mean, besides that, the city wants to keep the accesses even if they're not used. They still want to have access to it because once you give it up, it's gone forever.
Yep.
So,
Aside from that, though, there are no other concerns, if that helps you guys in your decision making.
You heard any feedback from the DNR yet? They still have about a month and a half.
No, they likely wouldn't respond to me. I think it went to Jenny.
Okay. But I would anticipate they will respond.
you know, that's my guess.
What, is that, what does the DNR have to offer? Do they have a legal say in this, or is it just guidance, or what is their?
Well, they'll offer their, I mean,
Okay.
just, you know, I mean, they're actually, you know, they DNR is actually taking Crown County to court for vacating lake access. They want, the DNR wants to keep the lake access.
This particular one, or?
No, nothing to do with this, Crow County.
Okay.
Big county,
But,
thousands of.
right, this was in Crow County. Yes, it's, I would like to know.
That's why I asked if it has there been any preliminary, you know, comments back from the DNR. We don't know any. And they still have, you know, till October 20th to comment, so. And that's not saying, and the city doesn't have to provide, like they're,
Right.
all they're offering is comments that, you know, within the city, so you are the regulatory agency that will be making the decision.
Thank you.
Linda, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think, I think they should be kept, maintained as it is, rather than giving them up.
Don, what's your thoughts?
Well, since I have to vote on it a second time, I'll let you bypass me.
Okay. Gary?
I'm kind of riding the fence on this thing because it seems to me like it might be a little premature if there's still comments coming out there from other agencies. It just, I don't know why we'd be jumping ahead on them, that's all.
We're pretty much doing the same thing as the DNR. We're just providing comment. We don't truly have any pull.
We're not vacating the right of way, it's council that's doing it.
Right.
Right.
So I'd just throw that up as a comment, that we probably should wait for the DNR comments or any other comments that are coming in on it.
Well, the DNR comments would come in along with the public work comments and the planning and zoning comments, and the council will look at them all and make a decision.
I'm a big fan of easements, and it's, what we're talking about here is just a greenway. It's not like there's stairs or concrete or asphalt. And it's in our master plan, so assuming that it goes to the water, I have a hard time vacating any easement for the lake. I'm thinking of the people that can't afford to be on the lake, which there's a lot of them.
I would go with the Park and Rec Board's recommendation would be my thoughts, because they're the one that is overseeing the projects. So my vote would be based on what they think, because they're the one that are managing it. So I'd
They
err on
wouldn't
the
be
side of the Park and Rec
managing
Board.
the easement or the platted access.
What's that?
They could, but I don't think we should make decisions off of something that might not even happen, because we might not even get that land. That's at least 2 years down the road, I would think.
Okay.
Not obtaining the land, making a plan and putting it into action.
Okay. All right, is that sufficient feedback to
So
provide?
recommendation of not allowing it, is that,
Today,
What we know, majority.
Well,
Yeah.
he was no, she was no, he declined. And
I'm riding the fence, but
He's riding the fence.
I'd be no for today. So,
No,
So can we have a motion to recommend to the city council to deny the vacation?
sure.
I'll recommend that,
Can't do that.
move that we recommend denial of the vacation of this particular easement.
I put based on park access.
On unknown factors of future use.
Do you have a second?
second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Abstain.
John abstains.
There's always has to be one.
Motion carries.
Well, I get to vote on that.
I know you do. I know.
Preliminary review of the Kramer plat.
as some of you may recall, we had looked at Mr. Kramer's potential plat roughly a year ago now, I believe. And we had said that without a wetland delineation, we wouldn't be able to provide comments. So now we have a couple different site plans in front of you. One is just strictly the delineation, and then there are two that are labeled. The one that has the lots actually labeled was the one I received this morning, so that's the most up to date, I believe.
I'm Sean Fletcher. I'm the owner of the property. And yeah, we would like to get the 7 lot preliminary plat approval, for the preliminary part if you could.
We're in the sketch plan review, so you'll still have to go do the preliminary plat and final plat, but just so transparent.
Okay.
Do you have any additional comments to add what your plans are or what your thoughts were?
Well, I don't think we'll have a problem making 7 lots in here. I think just making less is, and shorten the road will just be, it'll be less money for you and less money for me. I know we looked at coming in on this North Home Lane or whatever to the backside rather than going through that, around that, around that wetland. But it's so undesirable coming in there. I'm not even gonna be able to sell a house back in there, coming through there. There's a old crummy house out here on the corner, and it's pretty undesirable. So we thought if you didn't like us coming through to this wetland, maybe allow us to put storage buildings back here and come off the main highway, because it'd be more of a desirable lot for storage buildings than a nice house, put it that way.
Would you be the home builder for this project?
Yeah, we sub it out or whatever, but we do most of the dirt work and sub whatever and do whatever, yeah.
Is this all high ground, or I can't, looking at the
Well, yeah,
map doesn't really say, it
Jim
doesn't
Kramer
show
or
a heck
whatever's
of a lot.
got, it's all marked out where the green is where it's wetland on the map. See, I don't think yours shows that,
There's some contour lines.
but
Can you guys see it?
we actually got one here if they want to look at it, where the
Yep, they have those.
green, you got that one?
I don't
I
have it
don't
on
see the
screen.
green where it actually shows the wetland stand out.
I was gonna ask you too, what is this green line?
That's the road.
What's the blue line?
Well, the blue would be, I think, the right of way. To get out all the way to the right of way.
Yeah.
And then
That green line cut through lot 1, 3.
that was on a different one. But on this one, see, it shows the road with the right of way.
This is the one I got this morning, that's why I'm asking.
Okay. You want to look at this one?
No, I've seen it. I just didn't know, because this is the one we got this morning. I didn't know if there was a significant change or not.
Yeah, it's probably not the best picture to actually show the overall view of what I want to do, but
Not commercial. So.
now this one here would show it.
Oh, it does have.
Yeah, you see the wetlands up there.
See that the green part is, the,
Here's the wetland.
Questions?
Here's the wetland.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
In green are your 2 wetlands.
Here's the darker one, if that helps.
Yeah.
The pink is the wetland there.
so we want to put the road up around to the west side there, so we don't have to really hit the wetland. And I think the one house on that front lot might be near it, but that wetland up by the road there is, I wouldn't even call it a wetland, but I guess it's got the right grass in there.
Questions?
There's a green outline on that one.
The property between what you're proposing today and 371, who owns that strip of land?
I don't know. I'd have to ask someone.
I think whoever owns that old house that's near Madison Lumber. I don't know who.
It's actually,
Well, the reason I ask, if you don't own it, it looks like you're putting half a road through their property.
Nope. No, it would be on my property.
Well, where are your lot lines?
We would meet the setback on that road. I think there was an old right like a road right away that went through there or
It
something? I'd
looks
have
like
to ask
there's a
Jim.
platted right away in there.
The owner is Mary Agnes Carton on the other side there along 371.
Well, at the point when you go do your preliminary to make sure that you have the ownership to do that and put the road where you're showing it here. Another question is down where it empties into Nashway Road. That's at the bottom of a hill and a curve. I'm wondering if that's the best spot visually to put an entrance into a subdivision like that. We should take a look at that. And then up at the north, where North Home Lane comes in at the north side of the plat. When you're doing the planning up there, you should make sure you have provision for an extension of that road either to the north or east and not block it off. That'll be the only entrance to the property.
No, I think that's how Jim platted it. So if you look at my map, it shows it turning right onto North Home Road so that they could actually develop. That North Home Road is like a four-wheeler trail.
Yeah,
There's
I'm
a
just
sli-
saying, just take a look at that intersection that you're creating to make sure that it can be extended if somebody else comes in who has property to the north, who wants to develop too, can get in and out, and you're not, by decisions you're making, you're not blocking that from happening.
Were you thinking of having all individual wells for each of these parcels?
Yep.
Is that the idea?
On the old plan here, the one we had about a year ago,
Yep.
in the lower right-hand corner of Nashway, there's a little piece of the property that comes to the south side of Nashway, a little bit of a box down there. On the new plan that we got here tonight, that doesn't show up.
Well, it's pretty unusable. We don't even know how it got there or what, but we got it with the property, but I can't imagine anybody ever using it for anything.
Well, no, but if it's your property, you have to show.
But no,
it.
the one I have shows it.
The one that you sent us this morning doesn't have it though.
Okay.
And we'll just have to make sure that's addressed in the legals because otherwise it won't go through.
Yeah, I have it on this one, but,
Yeah, and Jim just has it cut off on the other one.
These lots all
but I mean, I
fit
could give
the,
you this updated one and just get rid of that one because this is the one with it on there.
are these lot areas, this size, these all fit ordinances?
Yep,
So-
the minimum is 20,000.
So we wouldn't need any variances to do this or anything. It'd be, just come in with more information. There's so little on it, but this is only sketch plan. That's what you're
Yeah,
looking
that's,
for, so.
we would have brought Jim with, but he said it's pretty minor. We just
Yeah,
gotta
it's
get it
different
to
when
the
you come
state.
in for a preliminary plat. You'll have a lot more
Do
information.
you own the property to the east of this parcel?
No,
This,
I put
this
a
is,
driveway in for a guy though.
this is,
That's Al Jenkins.
Yeah, that's Al Jenkins.
okay.
I think he's building a big garage back here.
Yeah, he's got the garage already built up there.
Is the 20,000 square feet total lot, or does that have to include all wetland areas?
That's just what our wetland, or what our lot requirements chart says. It doesn't specify.
Jim figured it was 20,000 total. So just as long as you got a decent place to build the house. And
My only concern was lot 3.
Right, I mean, they're not gonna have much of a building involved, but kind of the wetland setback. I mean, 'cause right now, the wetland have not been delineated. KLD went in and just used, desktop data, the DNR. So I mean, once they actually hire someone to delineate the wetlands, and then when they survey it, what we part of their, get through the survey, they'll have that additional information. And then that's where they'll have to determine that, I mean, we're not going to, lot 3, they may just, make sure they provide a decent enough building envelope on that lot.
Are you saying 7 lots could turn into 6?
Well, or if we turn it into 9, however, it's only 20,000 square feet. So, I mean, these are all more than double what they need.
That bottom lot down by Nashway too, there's a little wetland sitting there, with the house pad right next to it, and that won't happen, so you're gonna have to try to deal with that. just because of setbacks from the wetlands. Either that or take it out, you can take the wetland out and deal with replacing it someplace else, I suspect. May not want to, but
Very minor wetland there. There's plenty of room to put a house. I don't know what the setback would be from that little, looks like it's very minimal.
30 feet.
Well, it's not just the wetland, it's a setback from the edge of the wetland too. You got to figure in.
setbacks 100 on this,
30 if it's not connected. to
30 on
water.
this one?
Yep.
Yeah, you can make that probably,
Stay 30 feet from that wetland.
yeah.
But I'm sure we can make that
So you
happen.
want to,
You could even just go long if you had to.
with your proposed pad on that lot, I'd just stay 30 feet away from wherever it delineates,
Okay,
and you won't have a problem.
and 30 feet on lot 3 too.
You
But I think
all
he's
of-
got it
all of
further.
them, yeah. Wherever there's a
Farther than 30
wetland.
feet actually is where he's got it drawn in. But
On the county GIS, I know this is not very accurate all the time, but it shows that there's a platted, it shows some kind of a platted setback road on this, and I guess I would want to have a legal description of what that is, so then you can, maybe you might get more property if it's
Well, I know
pushed
Jim
over.
talked about this road that, because you guys are confused about this road, the way it went in there, existing onto their, getting onto their property. But he talked about this plotted road that was already in the county, the way it sounded, so
Yeah, it's
we
there.
don't feel
Yeah,
any
there's
reason
a
why we can't.
platted right away there
Yep.
for a road.
That
why we can't.
That's public street.
So we just want to use it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's public. Can.
So overwhelmingly positive, no major concerns besides the wetland setbacks. Is that-
No, it looks
Stay
okay
30
to me.
feet wetland setback and move forward.
Yeah,
Yeah, looks okay to me.
and
just
I'll-
kind of mind your Ps and Qs when you're putting her together.
I guess as far as summary property, I don't think about up the road
Just kind of like-
location.
Yeah, the exit.
I mean, so I guess, that needs to just, Nashua Road's a county road,
Mhm.
so they're gonna have to speak with
Yeah, county.
Ray for all.
Yeah, county's gonna have to approve that.
Yep,
so.
as far as the access, off Nashua Road, it's a location for that.
Yeah, it's at the bottom of the hill and it's on a curve, which makes it a little hard to see.
But, you said just the applicant. I'll speak to the county, will give them input as to where they would like to see.
Is it perfect? Probably not, but have you ever been down that road and you see where it goes off to Lake Hubert? That corner is like 3 times worse than this place where I'm turning off. It's kind of a slower road, it's not like a 60-mile-an-hour road.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a county highway, they have to give you.
Access.
To access their highway.
So we need to get it approved from the county to act for the access,
Yeah.
correct?
County engineer, you want to contact them.
Okay,
I'll connect her with them as well.
you'll just kind of do an overview of everything?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll just CC her on the email and we'll go from there.
Okay. Other than that, you think we're good to move forward?
No, looks okay.
Yeah, good luck with the project.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Wyala, I will email you in the morning on how to proceed.
Okay. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Sorry, I'll email you in the morning.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right, feedback on Schaus ordinance.
Yes, this has been quite a topic of contention within the city for, well, quite a while now. I don't believe that this is a trend that is going to go away. I think for our area, it is a very practical choice. It's cheap construction, cheap upkeep, lots of room for storage of toys. I think that this isn't something that we're gonna not have to address again. So I outlined a couple different options for you on how we could regulate it if you guys would like to do that. The options would be limiting the amount of storage area on a house by like a percentage. I had just thrown out 30% just as a ballpark figure, totally open to that. Also an option of limiting the total size of the structure, which I think is also a really great option because as of right now, we do not have a maximum building size for dwellings. It can go to 20,000 square feet. We don't have any requirements. And then the other option was allow them, but set aesthetic requirements to meet our up north view, which I think is also a great idea just because pole barns are not the most attractive thing in the world. I think pretty much everyone who lives next to one can agree with that. So, but also the option, if you guys don't want to regulate them, is also there. But I do want to be transparent that I've received numerous comments on this.
So there are quite a few of these around?
We've only issued permits for 3 as of now, but I've had, ever since I approved one on Nashway Road, I'm getting at least 2 calls a day from councilmen, residents, staff, elected officials, everyone.
And Mr. Young and I are really aware of this. I have to be careful here because this lot that I'm going to talk about is my next door neighbor. It's a 1 acre lot. They've come in and they've stripped all the trees out, period. It's 1 acres of sand right now. And he wants to put up, he's going to put up a home inside a pole building, I assume. The pole building is going to be 10,400 square feet. And the house will be a minimum about 860, and it'll be inside the pole building.
860 feet?
Square feet.
860 square feet.
8%.
That's
of
a
the
minimum that you can do. If, I tell you, you go look at it, it ruins the neighborhood, it's my personal opinion. It's lowered Mr. Young's house values, lowered mine. If these go in residential areas, it's going to murder the look of the city.
Up Northfield.
The up north field, and that's one of the things in our comprehensive plan that we said we wanted to keep the up north and to have these things brought up. As Brittany pointed out, there is no limitation on the size of these. I think we need to look at something to hold it down. I'd be willing to work with Brittany to come up with some language or something if you think that's appropriate or whatever, but we just, in my mind, we can't allow them to come in and in essence, put up pole buildings of any size in the city on any size lot down to 1 acre.
Or even have 2 pole buildings together, you know, if they
Yeah.
decided they wanted to have them side by side.
The walkway.
Yeah, with a walkway.
Brittany, I'm really behind this,
Yeah.
kind of like it was in the storage buildings, the
Yeah.
ordinance we passed. And I like your bullet items, but I like to make it somewhat hybrid. I think that allowing a G-max area for a building and also a percentage.
Okay.
You know, I combine those two, and I also like the up north feel idea of siding.
Okay.
Well, you know, siding, roof, whatever. So I'm a combination of all 3 of these,
Okay.
and maybe some more.
Fair.
I think you could add something with the lot acreage too. And I think part of our problem is it's on a 1 acre lot and it's an enormous building.
Yeah.
If it was on a 50 acre lot, I think that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And they are allowed in a residential area. This is shoreland residential. We have a lot of that in the city.
I don't think there's any doubt that we should be regulating these to some extent so far as sizes and, you know, how much can be storage. It kind of reminds me of our friend over on Lower Ride Lake Road too,
It's the same thing.
you know, and
It's the
he's
same thing.
got this huge building over there and he's got some sleeping space inside, but most of it's for storage.
Should we even allow a home inside a storage building? Should we allow that concept to exist?
Well, I think that a lot of people have storage buildings like this, but they're very much smaller, maybe 2 or 3 car garage type of thing, enough to put their snowmobiles and
Yeah.
camper inside. But this is huge.
I think
If
putting
You're
a,
saying 2,500 square feet, this is 10,000 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but you know, as far as putting a limit on the size of a home somebody can build, let's call it a home.
Yep.
You know, because it's also gonna apply if we try to regulate this as pole barns or storage buildings and we say you can't have over 8,000 square feet. There's a lot of people that are gonna come in and, I mean, there's a lot of money in this world that can, you know, there's people that are gonna wanna build a 10 or 12,000 or 15,000 square foot house. And it's a house, you know, just a big house.
It's a house, but it's not a storage building.
Right,
So
right.
it's either a pure house or it's a pure.
Well, and you
storage.
do that by not necessarily limiting the size of the building that they can build, but limit the size, the percentage of that can be garage, for instance.
How would
You
you,
know.
how would you define a house then? I mean, it's a shed with a house in it, I get it, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think that's,
like he was saying, you could have a whole different set of variations, so I think there has to be some kind of a definition of what exactly a house is.
you know,
That's why this is not an easy thing to put together, and it's going to take a little time and some ideas, and I can sit down with Brittany and we can go over, I wrote down some things here that we can bring back at the next meeting.
Yeah, you've really got to define, shed, storage, size, living accommodation,
Mhm.
size of that, how many can be on, how many acres.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more that needs to be addressed.
I think up until this point, the reason it wasn't really addressed is because of our impervious surface limits are so stringent. And then having to put in a well and septic, it jacks the price up pretty quick. So that usually will deter people. But
Yeah.
now with lumber being so expensive, now the septic and the well are kind of a non-issue because you're paying either way. So I think that's why it's becoming much more of a fad. But Don and I will certainly work on some language, and I will hope to have something to you guys by next meeting at the latest. But I'll try and send it out beforehand so you guys have time to read it, look it over. If there's anything you really don't like, let me
Right.
know, and we'll go
You know,
from there.
Will you send it out as an MS Word format?
Mhm.
Please.
somebody who's innovative could build probably a pretty decent home in a pole barn with pole construction. You
Yeah.
know, it's how you put it together. It's a
Yeah.
different story, you know, and it's so
How big
I
it
think we
is.
have to be careful.
I don't think anybody complains about a reasonable size structure, but they get it beyond a certain point.
I think limiting your storage, your garage and storage space and to, I don't know if 30% is the correct number or not. I would have a tendency to think that maybe a little bit higher than that could be
Yeah.
35, 40%. There's a lot of people like garages, you know, and so,
Yeah. Especially up
But,
here, we have a need for them.
yeah, so,
So I like your idea of architectural detail, matching that of a
Yeah.
house.
yeah.
Get away from this powder metal coated
Mhm.
galvanized pressed steel.
Yeah.
Self-supporting.
Come up with a draft of something that makes sense, you know, we just don't want to legislate things so they can't have it. I mean, we have to be reasonable.
Well, so the city ordinance is if you were to have, let's say I have a lot next door and I want to put in just a single stall garage, no living quarters. I'm not able to do
You
that,
can't do
correct?
that.
No,
No.
you have to
So
have
it
a dwelling.
seems like doesn't make a whole lot of sense that I can't put in a single stall garage, but I can put in a 10,000 square foot machine shed,
Yeah.
you know? I
Yeah.
just don't think it really matches what the ordinance is really, the core of what the ordinance is saying
Yeah. It meets
for living quarters.
the definition, not the intent.
Right.
Yep. Okay, I will work on that.
Okay.
Maybe specifying the size, the percentage of the dwelling that has to be living quarters. Might be better rather than, that's a positive vibe rather than saying you can only have so much garage.
Right.
You know, that's
Yeah.
negative, so.
But
Yeah.
let me
You might
play-
look at-
Let me play that game then. What defines living quarters?
That will be easier to define though than a
Maybe
shelf.
this is my pool table arena area. I'm gonna have
Well-
6 pool tables in it.
There's an awful lot of dwellings in the city that don't match what you and I would call living quarters, but they're there, you know? And so, you know, it's, you know,
We'll work on it.
there's a
Okay.
difference between being practical and communism, so,
I understand, but we'll get a chance to.
What's the
get a chance
difference?
to-
okay,
What's the difference?
we'll see.
All right, old business being none, planning and zoning administrators report.
All right, so as you guys probably saw, we did have 15 approved permits last month. As of when I put the packets out, we had 16 new dwelling permits this year, so that was pretty good, I thought, for given the state of the world. Were there any questions on any of the permits?
One second.
Okay.
Might be one.
Go ahead, Bob.
280, 307, 11 parcel. That's kind of what we're
What's
talking
the,
about here.
what's the top left number, or top right
Ouch.
number?
It's LUP-20-050.
Okay,
That's what we're talking about previously.
yep,
Shelves.
Hmm.
Driveway. Is it 2
Shelves.
feet by 78? That's the shelves?
yep.
Wow.
That should say stock mass. That's my mistake.
Where is this?
It's a pretty big garage.
Hidden Lake Road.
Brittany, did we have, Gary was talking about how we were going to update the cost per square footage when we looked at these permits. Did you look into that at all?
No, I apologize. I was going to touch base with Jenny because I know she's been working on the fee schedule. I will make a note.
Okay.
Sorry about that, guys.
I guess my comment is just reinforce what you previously talked about, why we need something.
Yep. Any other questions on those?
Yeah, one sticks out at me here, this
Yeah.
one with Russell Gibbons, I assume that's down in his development down here. Now here's a $250,000 value and the fee paid, the fee was $10,500, $450.
Yes, but-
That's considerably higher percentage wise than what, what I saw before. It looked like it was more like a $4,000 or $5,000 fee permit for something like that. Now all of a sudden there's one for 10,000.
For the septic connection fee, last year was 8,000.
Oh, that's right. He's got city sewer down there,
Yep,
doesn't he?
yep.
Okay. Withdrawn.
But it did go up. You're correct.
Yeah, okay, okay. Not used to seeing city sewer, so,
Yep.
Rather than
yeah.
Yeah, I think we have 4 connections now. Yeah.
Oh, is this the one?
Mhm.
Moving on.
Thomas Allen is building down
Packet?
in Russell's
55?
Flat too then, I take it, yeah? Thomas Allen Homes, Tom Dean.
Yes, yes.
So
you're
he's
correct.
got 2 builders down there, Russell's building and then this guy's building.
Thomas Allen Homes is the Pine Trail Homes.
Oh,
location.
okay,
Yep.
Pine Trail, okay, that over, just past the circle there.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
gotcha, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, any additional comments, questions?
Well, to make a point, since we have in the village that their house garage in here, we consider that a nice house garage, right? Well, their garage is 37%.
Yeah,
Your car garage is 1,010.
Yeah.
Compared to 2,700, that was both floors of their house. But as you look at that like there,
yeah, I think,
not ordinary, to have
yeah, I think the garage and storage area has to be somewhere around 40% probably, so.
with a G-Max,
Garages are king.
3,000 square feet or something, or what?
We could even do it as if you go over the percentage, it's a conditional use permit, so then it's not completely no. But that's something Don and I will.
Bill's house is 12,000 square feet, or Copper Kettle. Did we build a 20,000 square foot house last year?
I don't recall the square footage, to be
That one
honest.
went out and did the elevation check on it?
Yeah,
I mean, this thing is monstrous, he was calling it a house.
Well, that's one we were talking about earlier, so it's
Yeah.
down on lower.
okay,
Right,
I'll
like
keep
we're-
And
moving
that's
so we can get this
interesting
wrapped
that
up.
he's a landscaper and the guy who's doing the one on Nashway is a landscaper too. I think they talked.
Oh, is that right?
Well, we can't let that.
But that one's,
those happen.
but that one's already happening, correct?
Mhm.
Your neighbor. I mean, there's no stopping
No.
that.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's why you're moving?
That's why I moved here, yeah.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
No, I still have 3 items left.
You do?
Yeah.
Where?
The
Oh,
violation.
that's right, I'm sorry, you have.
We had no
Conditions.
violations in the last month. The correspondences, there were 2 letters in your folder, which directly correlates with 10D, so I'll include that in that report. I did an update on our conditions for the last 2 years because we issue condition use permits with conditions and then, to do due diligence, we need to respond to follow up on them. So as of now, Copper Creek, Poplar Place plat, both of the Commons Drive CUPs, Viking Label and the Stumbald CUPs are all complete with conditions. As of right now, we still have 3 that are outstanding, not including Grandview because we have a living document with them. The 3 that are outstanding are Moxie, the school across the street, because when I was doing my checks, they were still heavily under construction. And then Mr. Larson's place up on East Cullen Lake, I believe is the road. So I will stay on top of those, but I wanted to provide you with updates on that. And then the 2 letters that were the correspondences, these are the people that either their conditional use permit or their variance has expired. So I sent them notice that it's expired, but we can extend it if they'd like. At this time, neither of them have responded.
I got a question on the Copper Creek. You mentioned it.
Yes,
I mean over here on 371, I assume.
yes, the landscaping business.
You know, that, when that was approved, I recollect that that was approved with no outside storage of, or sales of mulch, dirt, plant, stuff like that. But that's all that's along the highway side. He's got a big yard back in there where he's selling all kinds of that stuff. And I remember him specifically saying that he wasn't going to have any outside sales, equipment or materials for sale.
It may have been discussed, but it wasn't listed in the
Didn't hit the paper,
conditions.
huh?
No,
Okay.
I'll double check to
Yeah.
see if it was discussed.
I
I'm
was
sure
just-
that it was.
I was
but-
just curious, but
Yeah,
Speaking of Copper Creek,
yes.
just trying to jog my memory here, a couple months ago, wasn't there an issue where you put a above ground hazardous storage tank inches from the
Right.
property line?
Yeah, I was
Yes.
just gonna
Curious
ask
as to
you
how
about
that got resolved.
Correct. I'm sorry. I should have updated you all on that. They have been signed off by the fire marshal that everything has been brought up to code. They put in the double wall tanks and set the setbacks and had the backup guard and all that stuff. So everything with that should be up to code now.
You know, like, I certainly buy that, the tank stone wall and everything like that. What, did he have to move it from the property line?
No, because he did the double wall barrels.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Now I'm done.
I just would like to introduce Pam, she's our new chamber director.
Hi,
Oh,
Pam.
my gosh.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so please stop by her office and say hi and introduce yourself for sure. So hopefully we'll be seeing a lot of her for a long time.
Yes.
Is that your Corvette out front?
But
Is that your Corvette out front?
it is.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I need more information.
Okay.
Let's close
Tomorrow,
the
9
meeting
a.m.
first.
Yes.
That was my sign-on bonus.
Very nice.
Wow.
We're in the wrong
We had
business.
2 car freaks that all right at me.
I drink very sexy.
No, really?
Friday I'll be gone.
Jeez.
Can we close the meeting?
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.
Nice. Man.
Warning, we're still
Is that a
recording. I'm working on it.
Z51?
Huh. It's Grand National, did you say? Grand
I don't know
National,
what
what
they
is that? Didn't hear it.
No, a stingray.
Stingray, oh, okay, okay.
Z51 is an option.
Yes, I know, a little bit.
No, husband didn't let me go that fast because he raises the Mustang, so I had to keep.
Oh, yes, there,
So,
yes.
yeah, he's got a word problem.
I remember once, I was working as an intern at
Well,
Toro.
it's nice to see you guys to sit in
Yeah.
that meeting.
Toro,
Now I know what you're all about.
I used to play hockey competitively.
And I'll pay when I'm building.